Welcome to it, grade 12 economics students. Wow, guys, you see, you've upgraded me from geography. Now I'm doing economics, my very first time. And we have a special guest. I am Looney, by the way, and we have a special teacher. Not guest, our special teacher today is Ozzy. Ozzy, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. And you, Looney?
I'm good, thank you. So what are we doing for the mindsetters today?
For the mindsetters today, we'll be looking at economics, particularly the two important categories in our economic that we're talking: contemporary economics and economic pursuits.
All right, mindsetters, you heard it. You're doing all of that stuff. So I'll be listening while you guys are listening as well. Make sure you take down the notes, but don't forget to hit me up on Facebook. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/learnextra. Twitter, our handle is at Learn Extra. I will post the notes, and remember to check out learnextra.co.za and click on the Spring School link to check out the tab, the schedules, the notes, and everything else you need to know about Spring School. Don't forget that we do have a Spring School competition where you get to win yourself a special Learn Extra hamper. We've been having these competitions throughout the day, and today is the final time that you guys can enter your favorite numbers from 0 to 9. All you need to do is tag or share your name, your on the post, and what you need to do is tell us your favorite number from 0 to 9. We will send you to a special draw, and throughout the show, sometime during the show, we will tell you the clock will stop, and the clock is our Facebook likes. So if you look at our Facebook likes and the last digit there, so if it's an 8, the number is 8, and then you must keep liking, and if it's not your number, must keep on liking until it's your favorite number. So post, tag, or share the post, and then tell us your favorite number, and then we'll have a lucky draw close to the end of today's show. So I hope you enjoy it. So Ozzy, over to you.
Thank you very much, Looney, and you listeners and mindsetters at home. Very glad to be with you also today. And we'll try to look at some of the very important questions that and how these questions are being answered. I know this is one section that most of the people are avoiding. I know that in most cases we concentrate more on the two important sections, that is macroeconomics and micro. But let us see some of the questions that come out in a form of contemporary economics and also economic pursuits. We are looking here at the question paper which was written on February 2012. Then we'll be looking at a few questions there, and we'll see how far we go. The first question for us today is a short question type. No, in all the questions in economics, you have a format in all the questions. Normally, you start to have shorter questions, maybe 4 short questions. Then you have a little bit 1 longer question for 8 marks, which you are requested to discuss it. And you'll have then the next question based on data response questions, where you'll be given a set of data where you respond on in terms of questions that are given there. So the main important thing, mindsetters, please be careful, because you always need to look at your marks at the end, so that you don't spend a lot of time when you are required to maybe give one word or choose between words. So the first question there we have says, the institution that determines monetary policy in South Africa is the South African Reserve Bank or the Johannesburg Security Exchange Ltd. What would you choose in those questions, in those answers there? You are given 2 distractors where you're supposed to choose one between the brackets. So which institution that determines monetary policy in South Africa? Is it the South African Reserve Bank, or is it the Johannesburg Security Exchange? Okay, I realize that some of you have actually got this one. We will see how we go. We will see how we go with this one. Because we need an answer for that there. Okay. All right. Okay, there we are then, boys and girls. Which one? The best answer there, we have what? South African Reserve Bank. Remember that the South African Reserve Bank is the institution which is there in order to determine the monetary policies. There's the ones who set up the monetary policy in the form of interest rates. Remember, the MPC is the council which is there to sit and determine interest rate every quarter of the year. Of late, if it's urgent, they have to sit 5 times a year in order to determine these interest rates, so that they know in order how to control certain economic aspects such as inflation and economic growth and others. The next question we have here is government policy relating to manufacturing are often called industrial or development policies. These government policies are relating to the manufacturing, it says. Manufacturing, these are called industrial or are they called development policies? That's the correct answer there. Yes, I can hear at home some are saying industrial, some are saying development policy, but we think the right one is industrial policies, because remember we are dealing with what? Manufacturing. And the next question we have is an advantage of import substitution is that the domestic economy becomes more specialized or diversified. Which one do we choose there? First, you must know, boys and girls, the issue here is not to choose, we need to know these aspects. For instance, if you know, you should be knowing what's import substitution. Import substitution is a situation whereby we're replacing what was previously produced and imported from other countries for local production. Therefore, we need to protect the local manufacturers so that we are able to stimulate exports in a way. So we substitute that. The government sits there and draws up policies and see how best they can help industries so that they can grow, so that we substitute what was previously imported from other countries. So here it says, what is an advantage, therefore, of import substitution is that the domestic economy becomes more specialized or diversified. What would you say? Is it diversification? It means we can be able to produce quite a number of things, but specialized means that then we'll be able to concentrate on particular aspects that we can produce locally. I think the correct answer there is what? To diversify so that we are able to produce more than one item, so that we avoid a situation where we produce milli-mill only and import cars from somewhere. So we need to diversify our economy in such a way that we are able to reach our goal of economic growth. The international organization that requires standardization of indicators from its members is it the World Trade Organization or International Monetary Fund, which should be having fund. The international organizations that require standardization of indicators from its members, is it the World Trade Organization, which is abbreviated as WTO, or is it the International Monetary Fund? Which one is the correct one there? Yes, I hear some of saying World Trade Organization, others are saying International Monetary Fund. I'll settle with the International Monetary Fund because it's got members in different countries, so these members come together and make decisions in terms of how to improve economies around the world. So this is now question 2. Question 2. The first question in question 2 says, list any 3 advantages of export promotion. 3 advantages. What would you say? What are the advantages of export promotion? Why must we promote our exports? I think most of you should get this one right, because it's very, very important that we have our economy growing. And in order to get our economy growing, we need to increase our exports. Our value of export must be greater than the value of imports. Therefore, we need to strike a balance which we call favorable balance of trade or favorable balance of payment at the end of the day. Remember when we talk here, the balance of trade, balance of payment, that is very important that we achieve that situation where we have a favorable balance. Let us here see the answers. Therefore, we have these answers which are listed there on the screen. Let us look at these answers and see which ones we have been able to answer and try to get them right. First, no limitation on the size and scale of the world markets. There is no limitations. The size and the scale of the world markets is huge, and we cannot limit. Therefore, we should be able to promote these exports so that we get lots of money flowing into the country. In other words, we get more foreign exchange to come to this country so that we are able to reach that goal of economic growth. Production is based on cost and efficiency. Production is based on cost and efficiency. Yes, this is very important to say, cost and efficiency. Remember that, therefore, we need to increase our efficiency whilst we look at decreasing our costs at by all means, so that we are able to produce at lower cost and be able to compete with the market. Remember, if our costs are high, then it means our product at the end, which we sell overseas, is going to be more expensive. As a result, if we sell motor cars, same as other countries do, and the motor cars in South Africa are more expensive because of the cost of making them is high. There, people are going to buy them from somewhere else. Therefore, we need to try by all means that we have our costs low. And our costs can only be low if we are efficient enough. We use all our resources in such a way that we are able to get that. Increased domestic production lead to lower domestic prices, which benefits the local consumer. Remember, mindset as if we buy bananas from another country, therefore, we are going to buy them very expensive, because remember, when we buy from overseas, we are forced to have what we call import duties and all these cost tariffs when we import goods from other countries. As a result, they will cost us more expensive. You buy a banana, one banana with 10 rands. So the best thing is to produce them locally, efficiently and very low cost, so that we get able to get them at lower prices. Exchange rates are realistic. These exchange rates are realistic. Yes, these exchange rates, remember the exchange rate are determined, there are many types of exchange rate. You know, we've got fixed, floating, and control floating. But you see, the floating exchange rate are determined by demand and supply of foreign exchange. If we buy lots of goods from overseas, the demand for overseas goods increase, which would cause the price of goods which we import from overseas increase. Therefore, to lower those, we need to buy local goods so that we are able to get it at lower prices because of the exchange rate. Increase employment. It's obvious. This one is very obvious. Because if you buy lots of clothes from overseas, what has been happening to our local clothing industries, textile? Lots of people have been losing jobs because we are buying lots of goods and clothing and other things from overseas. So that is why South Africa has lots of campaigns in order to motivate people to buy local production, so that the firms locally should be able to employ people, so that we alleviate all these other socio-economic problems like poverty, unemployment, and the rest. So we need that exporting will also increase our employment. Increase in exports have a positive effect on the balance of payment. Yes, I've just said this earlier, boys and girls. Balance of payment will increase. It will be positive. Sometimes when you say this, we prefer to call it what? We talk of a balance of payment surplus as opposed to balance of payment deficit. So each country, all the countries in the world, want to achieve a situation whereby we have a balance of payment surplus when the value of imported goods is greater than the value of exported. I mean, value of exports will be greater than the value of imports. Therefore, we have a positive effect on the balance of payment. Countries earn enough foreign exchange through exports to pay for their imports. That is also clear because we earn foreign exchange. If we sell to other countries, they pay us in their currencies. So we earn their currency. So we say we earn foreign exchange. And with this foreign exchange, we are able to finance again the imports that we buy from them. So this is a trade-off between the two. It encourages the development of industrial policies. Yes, our industrial policies are developed because we are busy producing locally so that we are able to develop these industrial policies to suit the needs of our local production and growth. Value can be added to the country's natural resources. Yes, because if you say, no, in South Africa we don't produce anything, then we end at the end of the day we say, no, if it's made in South Africa, it does not have a value. But if we have trust that we produce locally, we're using our local resources, then our resources will always have this value to say it's made proudly South African kind of situation.
Mindsetters, let's take a very short break. We will be back straight after this. Welcome back, Mindsetters, from a very short break. Don't forget to stop the clock by tagging yourself or sharing the post that I have posted on our Facebook page. All you need to do is tag yourself or share the post and tell us your favorite number from 0 to 9. And during the show sometime, I won't tell you when, we will stop the clock. And then when you stop the clock, those entries will be taken in and we'll finally have a winner for today's Learn Extra Hamper. That winner will take home that very special prize. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and I'll take it straight back to Ozzy.
Thank you, Loni. Thank you very much, Mindsetters. We are back again in order to continue with the work that we are busy with. We are looking at question 3, Mindsetters. The question 3, remember what I said? We said these questions are, now this is the type of questions that you always find in economics, which is called the data response question. It is nice. I always say to my learners, you know, it's like a bus. When you look at the bus, it's written on top, Johannesburg. So you cannot ask, where is the bus going? So these are the nice questions because you are given a set of information. Then they ask you, what is this information? It's very easy. So you don't need to panic there, but don't take chances, please. You have to reason them out. If there's calculations you need to do, please do so, because they carry lots of marks with them. The first question says in question 3, study the table below and answer the questions that follow. And we are giving a table there. This table says South Africa GDP in growth rate, a percentage change per quarter, 2005 is equals to 100. Normally that 100 is called a deflator in a way because we use a year, the 2005. I won't tell you what it is because there's a question based on that which you need to answer. There we have data ranging from 2007 up to 2011 of economic growth. I see you can see already with the question, what is happening to this economic growth throughout these years? You can see we have, for instance, in 2007, positive figures ranging from 6.5, which is we're talking percentage change of GDP. In 2007, in that year only, it ranged from 6.5, then somewhere during the year, it went to 3.1 and probably ended at 5.1 by the end of the year. Go to 2008, it shot up to 6.2 and went back to 2.9 until at the end we had a growth percentage of 0.9. You can tell a story what is happening here because you know that this growth is determined by certain things Again, we want to hear what the questions are saying, because I don't want to give you questions and answers all the time, you know. But something very interesting. In 2009, we realized that our growth was, you know, in economics, we look at life positively. We don't say it is degrowth or what. We say it's negative growth. It's still growth, but it's negative. So negative growth, you see, when you see zero there, anything below the zero mark is negative growth. It shows that our economic growth has actually declined in that year 2009. Again, there is questions to find out from you. Why do you think this could be the case? And it went on to 2000% positive growth and up 2011. Let us hear what the questions are saying to us now. The first question says, from what source was the data above obtained? From what source? Don't whisper, I can hear you. Yes? No, I know that people are saying, why this source is not written, this data, where it comes from? It's exactly because there's a question based on that, to say, where do we get the data? Okay, I can hear some of you are saying from the South African Bank Quarterly Bulletin. Some are saying from South African Stats, Stats South Africa. Yes, let us see the proper answer there. What is the answer saying to us? Oh, yes, you got it right. It's Stats South Africa. Stats South Africa. And also, those who have written South African Quarterly Bulletin also have stats like that. But we have to be sure, because we don't have to. But this correct answer is the Stats South Africa. Let us hear the next question. The next question, what year does the South African Reserve Bank use as the base year? Base year. There we go again. What do we mean base year? But which year South Africa uses as its base year? Guess? No, don't guess. You must know which year do we use as the base year. Okay? Let's see. Okay, we used 2005. Remember that source was saying 2005 is equals to 100. So we use that year as a base year. Normally we say we use a base. We call a base year when we say everything was stable. It's a year that almost everything in the economy there was stability. So that year was taken to be used as a base year. Our next question. Give reasons for the negative growth rate in 2009. Remember in 2009 what happened there? If we go back, we realize in 2009 we have seen this negative growth. Only by the last quarter of the year we have realized that at least we have climbed a little bit positive growth of 0.9. So what do we allot those problems? What are the problems that cause? What are the factors which has caused this growth in 2009? I know you read the news. That's why we call this section of work, we call it contemporary economics. Because it's contemporary is something to deal with things that are happening now. We don't have to read the textbook all the time. Newspapers, news, all those sources, because you need to enrich yourself. We don't want these economists that don't know what's happening now. And I know that you don't run away when there's news and you want to watch Generation, because this is very important for those people who are learning economics. Let us see the answer to the question. What are those reasons? Yes, the reasons. First one, it says here, because of the credit crunch in America and Europe, or the global recession. That we know that what happened in 2009. And we say we are living in a global village. Of lately, what happens in South Africa or what happens in the USA or elsewhere in the world does affect other parts of the world automatically, because we're talking global a village of lately. So it is important that in other countries there is normality in terms of economic issues, so that in other countries also. For example, if people say in Europe don't have money, they are unemployed because of this and that, then they are not able to buy certain goods that we are selling in our country. So we don't our level of exports will decrease and other things will happen. So it is important that we are all in the same global village. That is why we had negative growth, because those countries were experiencing recession. They were also, we call it the credit crunch of the global village. The next question here, and then it says that we accept any relevant reasons. It is very important. We don't say people must rap, but it gives room for those things that they are not in the textbook. We say it's contemporary economics. Therefore, anything that makes sense, please don't be afraid to write it down, because when we mark these things, we have memo discussions where we discuss whether this could be a right question or what, or so that you are giving the marks. That I'm not saying people must not be what you call it, relevant to the answer. It has to be relevant so that you are able to get answers, marks for that. 3.4, give 2 reasons for the positive growth rate in 2010. 2010, what was happening in 2010? There, back in 2010, there, the economy started booming again. So we want to know what could be those reasons which causes that to happen. Just 2 reasons for economic positive growth in that year. In 2010. What are those? Okay, let us see. Let us see if we are right. Yes, I know that everybody got that one right. Correct? That the Soccer World Cup held in South Africa in 2010, higher demand by foreigners, more job creation, infrastructural development. Yes, we saw. Number one, I think you know, this is common sense, that most people who come from all these countries, they come to South Africa to spend. In their stay during 2010, I don't remember, was it 30 days or what, but during that World Cup, there's a lot of demand by foreigners for local products, for local production. So, and many people who were local started their smaller businesses where they actually get a lot of returns on that. And there was high demand by these foreigners. Job creation took place for locals and infrastructural development. I cannot say more about this one because you've seen the stadium that we have up to now. They're up to world standard because of the World Cup, and as it is, we are fine. We can host any event. I don't want to say whether we win it or not, but we can host any event so because of the infrastructure that we have because of 2010. So those are the reasons which led to economic growth rate during that time. We proceed to question 4. Question 4 says, discuss employment as an economic indicator and suggest solutions for the unemployment problem in South Africa. How can we use this employment as an economic indicator? Yes. And suggest solutions for the unemployment problem in South. What can we do to solve? What are this question, remember, is 8 marks. Therefore, this question says it is in 2 sections, boys and girls. It says, the first one says, we discuss employment as an how can we use employment as an indicator, an economic indicator? 1. And what are the solutions that can be used in order to alleviate the problem of unemployment in South Africa? So for 8 marks, you can't write one line, That's where people lose a lot of marks, because it just run through the answers and so that he finishes writing, or he or she finishes writing. And then at the end of the day, you lose a lot of marks. The questions there, they cannot say, sometimes they don't tell you, write, discuss 5 factors of what. They just give you marks, and the examiner knows that, you already know that when it's 2 times 4, it means each answer has got 2 marks, and they are all 8 marks, so that it means you need 4 answers to put there. Very important to note for exams. So let us see then what are the answers to this question. Our answers. Firstly, the number of employed persons expresses as a percentage of the economic active people gives the employment rate. The economically active population. I know you know what we are talking about. Economically active people, it says what? The number of employed persons expressed as a percentage of economically active people gives employment rate. We call it employment rate. I won't bore you, because in grade 10, we've long passed that thing, that we call economically active people are those people who are within the ages 15 and 65. Those we call economically active people. So sometimes we refer to those people as our labor force in South Africa, because it is said that from 0 to 14, it's illegal if you are working at that age. If you are working already, be careful. Right. The employment rate in South Africa is approximately 75%. It's all not doomy and gloomy. I'm sure these answers are taken from those people who do lots of research. But remember that we are referring only to the people who are economically active. Those people, again, they are willing and able to work. Remember, I said, we only talk about unemployment as people who are unable who are not willing to work. In fact, those people who are willing and able to work, but who cannot get employment at current wage rates. So they want work, and they are able to work so that they can.
Mindset is we are going to take a short break. Remember to keep sending in those favorite numbers so that we can stop the clock sometime during the show. So don't go anywhere. We will be back straight after this break. Welcome back, Mindsetters, from that very short break. I hope you guys are concentrating. You're on par with Ozzy, and you are listening and writing down everything that he's been teaching you guys. I did post the notes and some of the questions on our Facebook page, so make sure you check those out. Right now, though, what I am going to do is ask Ozzy to stop the clock. We have come to the end of our competition for today. So Ozzy is going to refresh for me there on the page, and let's see what number it lands on. Okay, so if you check there, our likes are 54,281, and the last number is 1. So the clock has stopped on 1. So all of you who chose 1 as your favorite number, make sure you watch until the end of the show, where we will announce the winner from all of today's entries. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for entering the competition. Sorry, had a little pause there. Thank you so much for entering the competition, and we will announce the winner before the end of the show. But for now, let's go back to the lesson with Ozzy.
We will now look at the solutions. What are the solutions? Remember, the question was saying, what are we going to do in order to solve the problem of unemployment in South Africa? Yes, it says first, government, e.g., we can use public work programs, remember, to generate growth. It is important the government, and when we say the government must create employment, governments in all countries mainly do not start firms and produce goods, and most of the time we have what we call public work programs. I'm sure you've seen all over the show people digging and doing this and that, so that it is labor intensive, not tractors used, but lots of people working there, labor intensive, so that the people must get work so that more employment is created. And oppositely, It also alleviates unemployment. Households' involvement in informal sector activities. Yes, people must not sit there and say, no, we can't get jobs, and then it's bask in the sun. Many of them are starting to have small business enterprises. So, and they also they're recognized by the government also with help in order to help them establish SMMEs, so small medium enterprises, so that they are able to alleviate this problem of unemployment. Yeah, those are the two. Mindsetters will then proceed to the next question. Our next question is on a contemporary economics, question 5. Again, remember what we said. We said all the questions will start with what? With you choose here and there so that you are able to, those are free gifts. I call them free gifts so that at the end of the day, but be careful because I've seen many of the learners losing lots of marks, especially in section A, where we have multiple choice and all those. So those people like choosing things. At the end of the day, they just guess. But you still think, make no mistake, you still think when you're writing those questions because they are based on content. So, and it's easy for the examiner to mark because picked one word. So please, let us make sure that we grab those questions. Here we go again. Our first question, 5.1 to 5.4. Will be those questions. You see, those 8 marks, you can't afford to lose those 8 marks, mindsetters. The first question says, in 5.1, barter may take place where communities experience hyperinflation and stagflation. I'm sure you know the word hyper gives you a direction, something which is happening over necessary. Then barter, trade. Remember barter, trade, economic history, where we talk the origin of money and banking, where we start with what? The surpluses when the communities started trading before money came. Exchange of goods for other goods. That is referred to as barter trade. So we say that even today, barter trade may take place in those communities which are experiencing, is it hyperinflation, overinflation, where the people can now go to stores and buy because goods are expensive. Can they do this barter trade? They say, give me bread, I'll give you sugar, instead of going to the supermarket because the prices are high. Or stagflation. Correct answer, obvious. I can hear most of you are talking what? Hyperinflation. The single most important cause of cost push inflation is an increase in salaries and wages or leisure time. Like, there's no chance taking mindsetters. Boys and girls, very important. I said people cannot go through these questions if they don't know the content. Number one, you have to be conversant with the concept cost push inflation. What is cost push inflation? We have demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. Demand pull inflation is the inflation which is caused by the increasing of demand. If the demand increases and supply remains constant, the demand curve shifts to the right, and you have what we call demand pull. But it's the consumer side inflation. But the cost push comes from where? From the supply side, which is who? The producer. The ones who experience costs. Like now, what is happening with the unions all over the world, in South Africa, they want higher salaries. As a result, those who are owning those firms and mines and everything, they still want the same profit margin. What is going to happen? They are going to increase their salaries, but at the same time, to get the same profit margin, they are going to increase the prices of the products. At the end of the day, who suffers again? It is the consumer. But the consumer then realizes the price is high again, then it goes back to the union, toy, and so on. So it is a non-ending story, this thing about cost push inflation. Is it caused by salaries and wages? I already given the answer. What is it? Yes, I can hear you are saying salaries and wages. The next question, says what? Outbound tourists have a positive or negative effect on the balance of payment. Outbound. It's inbound tourism, outbound. I know out gives you some, out is something that goes out. And inbound happens within. Outbound, it means from country A, people go to country B. So outbound is what tourism? Does it have a positive or negative effect on the balance of payment? Outbound means South Africans are moving from South Africa and spending money outside South Africa. So is it positive or negative to the balance of payment? It's going to be negative, obviously, because it takes money out of the country. It means we supply foreign exchange to other countries by going to those countries and spend money which comes from South Africa. Electricity forms part of energy or communication infrastructure. Some of these questions. Electricity forms part of, is it energy or communication infrastructure? Do we use electricity to call people around, to have what, internet conversations and all that? No. We use electricity for energy. Right. But we have what? The telecoms of this world, there's the others, in order to be able to, and all our cellular networks, in order to be able to have communication infrastructure. Here we go again, the last, I think, this question. It says, question 6, list 3 causes of demand pool inflation. I already said demand pool inflation. It is the kind of inflation where the demand, aggregate demand, increases over aggregate supply. As a result, we have this demand pool inflation. What are the 3 causes of this demand pool inflation? We have spoken of the cost push inflation and the cost thereof. Now we want to know what are the causes of demand pool. And remember, this is a question, then it gives you 6 marks. So how many answers do you have? 3 marks, of which are going to give in 2 marks each. So we have those questions. What are the answers thereof? Let us see. Yes, I know you have got some of this. Increase in disposable income of household. If the household's income increases, it's only obvious. They are going to spend more money. Yes. Instead of buying 1 cream cake, then they'll buy 2 every month. Instead of buying 1 Coca-Cola, then they have more money, they buy 3 Coca-Cola or whatever drink that we have. So it means if the disposable income, we're referring to that income which is left after tax was taken. So this is which is left in the pocket of the consumer, of the household. Disposable income increase. Let's use a different color this time because disposable income of household. Availability of credit increases demand. You see, if we got lots of credit, then we have a serious problem because our inflation will also increase because remember, the demand increases, then our prices of goods will increase. If people buy goods, even if when they don't have money, then we have a very serious problem in South Africa or anywhere in the world. We will have this inflation all the time. That is why we have monetary policy committee of the South African Reserve Bank who will sit down and be able to control this credit by what? By interest rates. If they increase interest rates, they will discourage consumers and household and everyone from buying from credit because it's more expensive to buy on credit. But they regulate. If there's no demand, again, it's not good for the economy. So they reduce the interest rate so that people can buy more on credit so that we have a situation where demand increases. And when the demand increases, the demand for labor increases. So our employment also increases. So it is a balance that needs to be done in order to keep things our economy stable. Increase in economically active population. Yes, the more we have economically active population, the more we have what? This demand pool inflation. We are not saying, let's have more babies and more people on pension and very few people economically active. But we just say the more we have this gap, this 15 to 65, the higher the chances of demand pool inflation. Decrease in income tax. If the income tax decreases, mindsetters, remember, if the income tax decreases, it means the level of income disposable will increase automatically. If I used to pay, I earn 1,000 rand and I pay 500 rands on tax, then I'm left with 500. But if I earn 1,000 rand and the tax has reduced, it's now 300 instead of 5. Now I've got 700 to spend. So if I have more income to spend, I'll spend more than before. Then what happens to the demand? It increases. Remember, we are talking aggregate demand. It's not for Aussie. It's for aggregate demand, for the economy as a whole. So remember, if everybody's got an extra 500 rands for the population of 52 million, I'm not suggesting again that 52, all of it is the economically active. Just making a wild example. Then it means our aggregate demand will increase, and what happens to the prices of goods will also increase. Question 7 is based, remember that this is the question that is based also on what? On data. It's still data. It's a cartoon where you need to interpret things when we see them. See, there's nothing that is nice than economic paper where you're giving things and you have to just respond to what you see. It's different from maths. Hey? I can see everybody smiling and saying, yes. Okay. Let's see the question. Study the cartoon below and answer the questions that follow. Inflation due to the petrol price increase. I'll read the cartoon for you, but if you have time, you can look at the question paper for February 2012. You'll realize these questions are there so that people can look at those questions and see how they work them out. There it says, sorry, sir, I do not have any control over this price. Ish. And who says that? There's a cupboard, there's this what? A petrol station, price hike. It says this is what? Is personified. And then it's personified into say to this person who's coming to pour petrol, it says, sorry, sir, I don't have any control over this price. Ish. Then it says again, another increase in petrol. Right. Let's see the questions then, which ensue for this. It says, define the concept inflation. Oh, I know that you are so happy to hear that question, because if it was in an exam, I'm so sure the mindsetters will get a maximum marks. Define the concept inflation. I know most of you are saying general increase in prices of goods and services. Yes, that is the situation. Let us see now. Inflation can be defined as a sustained and significant increase in the general prices of goods over a period of time. Significant increase in the general prices level over a period of time. Yes, simple as. We move on. We don't want to waste time because we're running out of time. Who regulates petrol price in South Africa? Yes, let's hear. Who regulates the petrol price in South Africa? Simple. The government, isn't it? Yes, the government is in charge of regulating the prices of. That is why you can't go from this garage and then they say petrol price is so much per liter, and you go to another one. So we don't have a choice, really. You can't say, I'm going to this garage, it's cheaper than the other one, because it is regulated, that price, by the government. Next question. Give the economic term for prices of goods and services set by the government. Prices of the economic term for prices of goods and services set by the government. What do we call the term that is used for the prices of goods that are set by the government? We call it administered price, right? No, administration is something to do with regulation. Those prices are regulated by the government, and then they are called what? Administered prices. Okay. Explain the effects of unfavorable rand-dollar exchange rate and on the petrol. Let us hear the answers quickly so that we are able to wrap up. Okay. Thank you very much, Mindsetters. It's been a pleasure being together. We hope that we will, next time, we'll have more time so that you are able to cover quite a significant amount of work. Thank you very much. I'll hand over to Luni.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to Princess Alphys Mashava for winning that great prize. We will see you next time. So thank you so much for tuning in, and goodbye.
Is the council which is there to sit and determine interest rate every quarter of the year. Of late, if it's urgent, they have to sit 5 times a year in order to determine these interest rates, so that they know in order how to control certain economic aspects such as inflation and economic growth and others. The next question we have here is, government policy relating to manufacturing are often called industrial or development policies. These government policies are there in order, they are relating to the manufacturing, it says. Manufacturing, these are called industrial, or are they called development policies? That's the correct answer there. Yes. I can hear at home some are saying industrial, some are saying development policy, but we think the right one is industrial policies, because remember we are dealing with what? Manufacturing. And the next question we have is an advantage of an advantage of import.
Final time that you guys can enter your favorite numbers from 0 to 9. All you need to do is tag or share your name, you're on the post, and what you need to do is tell us your favorite number from 0 to 9. We will send you to a special draw, and throughout the show, sometime during the show, we will tell you the clock will stop, and the clock is our Facebook likes. So if you look at our Facebook likes and the last digit there, so if it's an 8, the number is 8, and then you must keep liking, and if it's not your number, must keep on liking until it's your favorite number. So post, tag, or share the post, and then tell us your favorite number, and then we'll have a lucky draw close to the end of today's show. So I hope you enjoy it. So Ozzy, over to you.
Thank you very much, Luni, and you listeners and Mindsetters at home. Very glad to be with you also today. And we'll try to look at some of the very important questions that and how these questions are being answered. I know this is one section that most of the people are avoiding. I know that in most cases we concentrate more on the two important sections, that is macroeconomics and micro. But let us see some of the questions that come out in a form of contemporary economics and also economic pursuits. We are looking here at the question paper which was written on February 2012. Then we'll be looking at a few questions there, and we'll see how far we go. The first question for us today is a short question type. No, in all the questions in economics, you have a format in all the questions. Normally, you start to have shorter questions, maybe 4 short questions. Then you have a little bit 1 longer question for 8 marks, which you are requested to discuss it. And you'll have then the next question based on data response questions, where you've given a set of data where you respond on. in terms of questions that are given there. So the main important thing, mindsetters, please be careful, because you always need to look at your marks at the end, so that you don't spend a lot of time when you are required to maybe give one word or choose between words. So the first question there we have says, the institution that determines monetary policy in South Africa is the South African Reserve Bank or the Johannesburg Security Exchange Ltd. What would you choose in those questions, in those answers there? You are given two distractors where you're supposed to choose one between the brackets. So which institution that determines monetary policy in South Africa? Is it the South African Reserve Bank or is it the Johannesburg Security Exchange? Okay, I realize that some of you have actually got this one. We will see how we go. We will see how we go with this one. Because we need an answer for that there. Okay. All right. Okay, there we are then, boys and girls. Which one? The best answer there, we have what? South African Reserve Bank. Remember that the South African Reserve Bank is the institution which is there in order to determine the monetary policies. There's the ones who set up the monetary policy in the form of interest rates. Remember, the MPC is the
Welcome to it, grade 12 economics students. Wow, guys, you see, you've upgraded me from geography. Now I'm doing economics, my very first time. And you have a special guest. I am Looney, by the way, and you have a special teacher. Not guest, our special teacher today is Ozzy. Ozzy, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. And you, Looney?
I'm good, thank you. So what are we doing for the mindsetters today?
For the mindsetters today, we'll be looking at economics, particularly the two important categories in our economic, that we're talking contemporary economics and economic pursuits.
All right, mindsetters, you heard it, you're doing all of that stuff. So I'll be listening while you guys are listening as well. Make sure you take down the notes, but don't forget to hit me up on Facebook. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/learnextra. Twitter, our handle is @LearnExtra. I will post the notes, and remember to check out learnextra.co.za and click on the Spring School link to check out the tab, the schedules, the notes, and everything else you need to know about Spring School. Don't forget that we do have a Spring School competition where you get to win yourself a special Learn Extra hamper. We've been having these competitions throughout the day, and today is the